How we doing, guys? Welcome to today's DT's Daily, and it's very, very simple what we're going to talk about. The international break is finally over. I know we still got a few days until football starts again and everything, but it's just been a long week and a bit. Let's be honest about it. But we're going to try and be objective here, and we're going to try and speak about the Arsenal players that have been on international duty. And first and foremost, we have navigated another international break without any injuries. So far, at the time of recording, haven't heard of any, doesn't seem to be any issues. And I also believe that the players have not been run into the ground. I know Victor Gyökeres has played a lot of minutes, but for the majority, I'm quite happy with the minutes that the players have played. And I think you'll get a pattern in a moment when we talk about how long the players were actually playing. But we look at someone like Jurriën Timber. He is somebody that worries me because he's so good. He's so important. Come back from an injury, that he had last season and everything. You always want to make sure that he's just managed correctly. And that's exactly how he was managed for Holland. They finished their second game on Sunday, so he's going to get near enough a full week's rest. Gabriel, he was unused sub for Brazil, so he's only played in one game. Martinelli was used for around about 60 minutes. Got a goal as well. Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice, in the game against Wales, they were used for around about 60 minutes. And then in the game yesterday, they were used for about 60 minutes. Martin Zubimendi for Spain was used for about 60 minutes. You see the pattern here. I'm wondering whether Mikel's picked up the phone beforehand and said, listen, none of these players are playing more than 60 minutes. Let's not take the mick here. Let's make sure that they're, able to recharge and be ready for the weekend's game. And, Eza came off the bench yesterday, scored as well, but wasn't involved in the first game. So when you're looking at the players and the minutes played and everything, I'm quite happy with that, to be fair. Listen, at the end of the day, hopefully they've not been run into the ground. Hopefully they're not going to pick up no injuries. And hopefully they're all going to be ready and, available for the game at the weekend. And, I spoke about it in Monday's video, I think it was, where I said that it's going to be interesting to see what Mikel does over these next 3 games. You don't want to write off one of those teams and say you're a lot easier than the other, but Fulham would be the game you look at and say, okay, this one's on paper not going to be as difficult as Atletico Madrid and Crystal Palace, given the season that they're having. But then coming back from an international break as well, do you want to run the risk of too many changes and everybody's a little bit cold and a little bit, and you don't know? And what you don't want is to come back from international duty and, relinquish top spot because you don't win the game. Liverpool are playing Manchester United, and I know people will laugh and say, well, it's Manchester United, but you never know. It's a huge game. Them two hate each other. And it's basically a derby at the end of the day. And, Manchester United will have their own reasons why they want to win the game. And if they can do us a favour as well in the process, then I'm all for that, because we've got a nice little run of games now, and Liverpool got a little tough run of games now. We're not looking too ahead of myself. I think, okay, we could get a bit of momentum here That's what I'm hoping for anyway. So it'll be interesting to see what Mikel does and in terms of the changes and everything. I think that he may make some changes, but it would be very minor tweaks in comparison to what we did against Olympiacos, for example, where Saka, Eza, and Rice and Timber, and they were all left out. I don't think that's going to happen against Fulham, that's for sure. But yeah, I'll be doing obviously a preview to the game in the next couple of days, and I'll kind of go through what I feel the starting 11 will be. I've kind of got an idea in my mind. I know now with the news of Martin Odegaard, there is the talk resurfacing again of Mikel Moreno playing in that 10, that Mikel Arteta won't be able to resist the temptation to use him. Ironically, he goes and scores another 2 goals for Spain. So part of me is now thinking, oh no, you know what? He might actually do that. But at the same time, Eza's going to be fresh and he's going to be full of confidence because he scored. And look, I'm hoping that Mikel has learned his lesson from, previous games and, putting the handbrake on, and he's seen just what we can do now. You let the handbrake off. And yeah, I just feel that away from home against a side like Fulham wouldn't need that setup. I think you need a very attacking lineup. And I feel that you just go for Fulham and you attack them. And it's as simple as that, really. That's, my assessment on it. But like I said, I'll do a, preview to that in due course. But listen, at the end of the day, it's nice to get an international break over and done with no injuries. And like I said before in another video this week, that, when it comes to the international breaks, we end up sitting and watching, with our head in our hands, and we're kind of looking through the gaps in our hands and thinking, oh no, not again. Like, I think that's the biggest worry with every Arsenal fan. I think it's the worry with any fan of any club, to be quite honest with you. At the end of the day, you don't want your players injured, especially your main players. And when we've had so many issues in the past, yeah, that's not what we want. And when we're looking at players like Rice and Saka, in particular, where we're going, hold on a minute, no, Jurriën Timber, and luckily David Raya is not even first choice for Spain, so he'll be fine and everything else. So listen, at the end of the day, it's done, and we can kind of breathe a sigh of relief for 4 weeks before we have to do it all over again. Yes, we have to do it all over again. Absolutely winds me up that we have to do it all over again. But listen, that's another video for another day. I'll be here all night if I start getting on my high horse about that. But yeah, listen, that's it. International break is done. No injuries. Everything seems fine, and we're ready for Fulham on the weekend. So there we go. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about the international break, the players and everything else, and who stood out for you. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button, smash a like on this video, and I will see you lot soon. I'm out of here.